The dragons believed in the common denominator of all religions. There's a thread of love, tying us all together. It wasn't always that way for them. There were billions of years where there was bickering and fighting. Religious factions didn't know how to get along with one another. Consequently, countless idiotic wars were fought in the name of God and religion. My God is better than your God, and I'll prove it. Pick up your weapon, and it's fighting to the end. These were barbaric times for the dragons. The dragon's foundation was built upon the principles of harmony with nature and the universe. Of course, they went through intense struggles, more than you can ever imagine. Yet in the end, they went from darkness to light. When a civilization transforms from darkness to light, the entire universe applauds. Not many civilizations make it. These same principles that the dragons exist inside the principles of the way.
Intro. I have always been fascinated by the East. As a young child, my parents had a statue of the Buddha and a painting of Kuan Yin. Sitting on my bookshelf lies a copy of the Tao Te Ching. It has been sitting there for many moons. Mind you, many of you probably weren't born. It's been that long. My favorite part is the opening. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The nameless is the beginning of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of the 10,000 things. Ever desireless, one can see the mystery. Ever desiring, one sees the manifestation. These two spring from the same source, but differ in name. This appears as darkness. Darkness within darkness, the gate to all mystery. Whenever I read this, it sends shivers down my spine. How eloquently said. This was written by Lao Tzu about 300 BC. I love good mysteries. My brother and I are extremely curious. Ever since I was a kid, I actively pursued the great mysteries. About 6 months ago, I started to do a Qigong practice. I love it. I've been practicing every day. Recently, with a worldwide shutdown, I had some time on my hands. In my morning meditations, I thought I would read the Tao Te Ching and absorb it. I find scriptures fascinating. There is a great mystery to be solved. Each sacred book talks about, in their own subtle ways, how to discover the jewel within. Lao Tzu was one of them. The most books ever sold. The most books ever sold, except for the Bible, was the Tao Te Ching. It was sitting on my bookshelf, waiting patiently for me to open it up. The Tao is ever so patient. It took billions of years for man to appear on Earth. Modern-day scientists and mystics are talking about the Tao using a different way of expressing it. Scientists call the Tao the quantum field. This field exists beyond time and space. It was, is, and will always be. It exists in all dimensions. Yet centuries before Christ, the sage, discovered the Tao or the Way, it wasn't a philosophy. They had first-hand experience of it. These teachings are more relevant today. The world is in chaos. The Tao Te Ching can help humanity to discover the jewel inside. Remember, you can talk about a mango, yet without trying a mango, it's just book knowledge. The Tao is a practical path. At times, I think humanity wants to give their offering once a week and call it quits. Maybe this worldwide shutdown will be an opening call. Only time will tell. There are 81 short quotes. I'm putting my commentary for each. I use the word ponder a lot in my writings. I'm pondering deep inside myself to understand this precious wisdom. I don't want to skim the surface. Anybody can do that. I want to discover the pearls of wisdom for each one. I hope you enjoy the book.
A wise man understands that life is a video game. Like any video game, there are rules to the game. Unfortunately, mankind has no idea that there is a video game they are in, and therefore they don't know about any rules to the game. Patanjali Yoga Sutras describe the rules of the game of life. The dragon world would have loved this. It took them many moons to unlock the secrets of life.
Intro. Synchronicity is a concept first introduced by analytical psychologist Carl Jung, which holds that events are meaningful coincidences if they occur with no causal relationship, yet seem to be meaningfully related. A few months ago, my dear friend David Schweitzer told me that his wife Sherry was just finishing up a year-long course on Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. I was intrigued. Always wanted to know more about it. All my spiritual practices use bits and pieces of it, yet I never studied the complete picture. So 2 weeks ago on Facebook, I stumbled upon this post. It was a free 11-day course presented by the Art of Living Foundation. It was a talk presented by Sri Ravi Shankar. Talk about synchronicity. Perfect time. Now, this is an online course. I'm taking it during this global shutdown. I signed up on a Friday, and the course started on the following Monday. This course was given in 1995 in Switzerland. Granted, that's 25 years ago, yet the content hasn't changed in over 2,500 years. Usually, the talk is around 45 minutes to 1 hour, with around 15 minutes of group discussion. I would highly recommend it. The discussion talked about the key components of his talk. One way I learn is by writing and teaching. A few months ago, I wrote a book called The Way. It was a commentary on the Tao Te Ching. This book was written by Lao Tzu over 2,500 years ago. In the 70s, Jane English translated this book. It was considered a classic for its time. It's still considered a classic. I'm slowly but surely trying to connect the dots between spiritual traditions. I've been posting 1 chapter a day, from my book The Way and Diary of a Kabbalistic. This book is about Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Don't let that title scare you off. I'm going to try to make it as simple as I can. I'm stripping out most Sanskrit words. This book was one of the original texts to help mankind on the road of life. It provided helpful hints for mankind to discover the jewel within. This ancient wisdom is the foundation for millions of people around the world. Many people use this wisdom, yet they don't know where it came from. I was one of them. I actually used this practice in my life, yet I wasn't aware of where it came from. Mind you, for over 48 years, I've been using these practices without knowing the source. What is the central theme of this book? Why was it written in the first place? Man has been fighting for thousands of years. Nothing good ever comes out of the war. Yet we continued fighting for thousands of years with no end in sight. Where does war first start? Inside of our minds. The Eastern world has said for thousands of years that conquering your mind is the most difficult thing to do in the universe. I have friends who tried to meditate in the 70s and gave up because they said they didn't know how powerful the mind is. This book will give you tricks of the trade. Mind you, even knowing the tricks of the trade won't do you any good if you don't practice them. Most of mankind are reactive beings. We are like leaves blowing in the wind. We react to each and every situation. If someone does something you don't like, we automatically explode and put gasoline on the fire. Our subconscious runs the show. 95% of our actions are dictated by our subconscious, while 5% is from our conscious mind. Our subconscious contains the good, bad, and ugly in life. From 0 to around 7 years old, the mind would absorb everything like a sponge. At that point in time, the brainwave state is theta. Theta is the sponge that soaks it all in and passes it to our subconscious. A wise man lives in the center of the hurricane. The winds of the mind are howling. Its stillness lies inside. The Yoga Sutras provide practical, down-to-earth advice to take you on this precious journey of life. The human body, mind, and soul are all interconnected. Our present state of living is in total chaos. We take responsibility for our own welfare. A few years ago, I worked on a firm that developed software for heart surgeons. Each step of the way in the operation, a series of questions and steps would be presented to the surgeon. Anyway, I casually talked to the CEO of the company. Why isn't preventative medicine more pervasive? He told me that nobody wants to take responsibility for their lives. They want Western medicine and doctors to fix them. Well, no wonder we have such immense problems today. Common sense is uncommon. We have lost touch of the building blocks of life. Man builds sandcastles in the sand. The tide comes in and washes them away. There's no foundation in place. Look at the world today. A global shutdown is occurring, and Mother Nature sends all of us to our rooms to think things over. Yet, we get bored. We can't see the forest from the trees. Most of humanity never stops and asks questions like why this is occurring. We live in automatic mode. Did you know that systems were put into place thousands of years ago? These systems provided practical, down-to-earth advice to help you in every nook and cranny in life. All help and guidance are included in these systems. They were never taught in our schools. Consequently, our world is in chaos. We are human beings, but currently, for thousands of years, we are human doers. What do you do for a living? Currently, youngsters go from one activity to another. By the time they are adults, this is embedded directly into their subconscious. The state of being is forgotten. Humanity has lost the jewel. They think it exists outside of them, yet the jewel exists inside of them. This ancient book provides pathways to discover the jewel. I say this a lot. You are the universe. You just don't know it. Most people roll their eyes when I say this. Michio Kaku said the following. In string theory, all particles are vibrations on a tiny rubber band. Physics is the harmonies on the string. Chemistry is the melodies we play on vibrating strings. The universe is a symphony of strings, and the mind of God is cosmic music, resonating in 11-dimensional hyperspace. I love this example from Paramahansa Yogananda. Another time, I was sitting in a movie theater watching a movie on a screen, and then I looked up into the projection booth. I saw that the projectionist was not interested in the movie because he has seen it over and over again. Instead, he was reading a book. The projector was doing its job. There was the sound, and the benefit of light was casting realistic images on a screen, and there was the audience caught up in the drama. Now the wise men of old and the quantum scientists are both talking about the same thing, but there is a huge difference. The quantum scientist looks external, while a wise man looks within. The sages throughout time would talk about our true nature, yet the majority of people really rolled their eyes when hearing about this. Here's a poem I wrote talking about the jewel within.
There is a thread of love tying us all together. These are collections of sayings from the wise men, from the present to the past.
Intro. The 16th century Spanish mystery, St. John of the Cross, said the following for the definition of a mystic. A person who seeks by contemplation and self-surrender to obtain unity with or absorption into the deity or the absolute, or who believes in the spiritual apprehensions of truth that are beyond the intellect. When I was a kid, I had the intense yearning to discover my true nature. I knew we had 5 senses, and at the same time, we had 5 internal senses. Don't ask me why, but ever since I was young, I knew that as a fact. I've been meditating for around 49 years. You could say it's my lifetime hobby. My 3 hobbies are meditating, surfing, and ethnic food cooking. Ever since I was young, I had a knack for it. You could say that I'm constantly learning and growing. It wasn't until a few years ago I would even consider myself calling myself a mystic. Yet since I began my daily writings in 2017, I began to see that this label did fit me to a T. Mind you, I've been writing for around 30 years. The last few years have been an revolution for me. I think writing and meditating blend well together. Meditation through the years allows one to dive deep into the ocean within. Writing allows one to dive deep inside and bring precious wisdom to the surface. Personally, it brings greater wisdom because I can learn from my writings. So much what we know is on an unconscious level. Writing allows one to bring the unconscious thoughts to the surface. It's another form of self-discovery. I love the work of Carl Jung. Imagine our conscious mind is only running about 2% in our daily lives, while the subconscious mind controls the rest. I find that fascinating. This book pays honor to those who think outside of the box. Many you may know, while others you probably don't. They are quite diverse. My understanding and experience, there is a thread of love tying us all together. We are on the same boat sailing home. Nobody is better than worse than another. Each religion has a certain point of view. Each one has a different and unique piece of the puzzle. It wouldn't be a puzzle without individual pieces. Meditation brings clarity and wisdom to see the jewel inside each tradition. I find it curious that religions will fight with each other. Governments will harass different groups that are different from theirs. Yet, mystics don't fight with each other. There is a common bond that ties them together. I've included all sorts of people who you might say are not mystics. Yet in my definition, a mystic is someone who thinks outside of the box. Artists, musicians, and inventors. Anyone in life who is free-thinking, in my eyes, is a mystic.
The shaman's life is dedicated to obtaining practical experience of the world within and without. The shaman understands the meaning behind life itself. The world doesn't understand the shaman because the world doesn't understand itself.
Welcome to the world of shamanism. Shamanism is a religious practice that involves the practitioner, a shaman, who is believed to interact with the spirit world through a direct, altered state of consciousness, such as trance. The goal of this is usually to direct these spirits or spiritual energies into the physical world for healing or some other purpose. This is the most given definition. Yet I take a different spin on it. I'm taking the modern day approach. Everyone alive on Earth is a shaman. The jewel exists inside of us. The quantum field exists everywhere. It's existent beyond time and space. It exists in the seen and unseen world. It exists in all dimensions and universes. The shamans of all traditions know this. They know the interconnectedness of all creation. The Mother Earth and man are interconnected with each other. You don't see indigenous people throwing garbage in the living room of the earth. They don't put up fences. Nobody owns the land. The land is sacred. It seems to me that Western man is still living in conquering the Wild West. We still have the mindset that life must be conquered. Mind you, we annihilated millions of Indians along the way, yet we still don't have any remorse in doing so. You would think that we might change our ways. Yet this is embedded into our consciousness. We feel conquering is the only way. Whether it's war, politics, sports, or business, there are winners and losers. We even fight with Mother Earth. We take and steal precious resources without any sense of morals or ethics. The following is from CNN. Prince Charles made these statements. Only a revolution in the way the global economy and financial markets work can save the planet from the climate crisis and secure future prosperity, Prince Charles warned on Wednesday. We can't go on like this, with every month another record in temperatures being broken, he told CNN in an exclusive interview at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. If we leave it too long, then we just have done. Just growing things is going to become difficult. The heir to the British throne and lifelong environmentalist was speaking to CNN after he threw down a challenge to the global business and financial elites in Davos to lead a paradigm shift, one that inspires action at revolutionary levels and pace to avert the approaching catastrophe. Do we want to go down in history as the people who did nothing to bring the world back from the brink in time to restore the balance we could have done? I don't want to, he told the audience at the WES 50th annual meeting. We must change our awareness and consciousness. We are nonchalantly sawing the branch we are sitting on. Every human on earth holds a particular piece of the puzzle. I firmly believe that the further a society is distant from Mother Earth, the more insanity occurs in civilization. Common sense is uncommon. We lose the wisdom of the earth and the universe. Society no longer is in sync with nature. We develop the Wild West mentality. This gets carried away in all phases of life. Currently, the United States is in a major meltdown due to the silent virus. Yet our president wants to open up schools next month. Yesterday in Florida, over 16,500 people were reported positive. That's just in one day. There's still a furious debate on whether to wear a mask or not. When a society loses connection to Earth, all hell breaks out. We think we are smarter than nature. Man's ego gets so large that he thinks he is in charge of everything. Mother Nature sent us all to our rooms and think things over, yet we got bored and complained the whole time. For many people, they got nothing constructive out of it. The following is from ABC News. I think I made a mistake. I thought this was a hoax, but it's not. Those were the final words of a 30-year-old patient who died at Methodist Hospital in San Antonio this week after attending a so-called COVID party, according to the hospital. Dr. James Appleby, Chief Medical Officer for Methodist Hospital and Methodist Children's Hospital, said in a recorded statement that the unidentified patient told nurses about the party, which he said is hosted by someone diagnosed with the virus. The thought is people get together to see if the virus is real and if anyone gets affected, Appleby said. Appleby said she shared the story not to scare people, but to make sure they understand that the virus can affect anyone. The practice of a shaman is to learn how to be in harmony with the universe and Mother Earth. In the silence lies all the answers to life. This book will take you into the world of the shamans. This is your natural state. As I said many times before, you are the universe. You just don't know. Shamans have known this fact for thousands of years. To save humanity, we must discover our true nature.
The sacred wisdom of the Kabbalah existed even when the dragons were around. This is eternal wisdom beyond time and space.
Intro. Come with me on this precious journey of life. This book first got started way back in 2001. I first heard about the Kabbalah back in the mid-70s. Until recently, you had to be Jewish, you had to be a male, you had to be over 40. The Kabbalah was an esoteric aspect of Jewish tradition. It existed for over 2,000 years. In September of 2001, my wife and I embarked on this incredible journey. Karen Greenberg was a great teacher who taught a group of us in Penn Valley, California. She lived in Michigan. Karen came 4 times a year to teach us. We had monthly classes where we would meet at our house. My wife and I were instructors for this class. We'd say, if you want to learn something, you should teach it. Well, I decided to channel the wisdom. I used the book Ted Andrews, which had all the archetype symbols for each Sephirah. This is called the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life is a diagram used in various mystical traditions. It usually consists of 10 nodes symbolizing different archetypes and 22 lines connecting the nodes. The nodes are often arranged into 3 columns to represent they belong to a common category. We only study the 10 nodes. For each node, we spent the month studying and experiencing the particular node or Sephirah. This is from Wikipedia. Carl Jung understood archetypes as universal archaic patterns and images that derive from the collective unconscious and are the psychic counterpart of instinct. They have inherent potentials that are actualized when they enter consciousness as images or manifest in behavior on interaction with the outside world. To be quite frank, I never worked with archetype symbols before. I first was exposed to them at the Monroe Institute in the mid-80s. I spent a week there. For some reason, it was love at first sight. With my meditation experience, I found it easy to tap into each symbol. I believe there are universal archetype symbols that exist in the collective unconscious. You might ask yourself, why would anybody want to learn this? Well, I like the analogy. The goal is to have your feet on the ground and your head in heaven. I like that statement. I like the idea to be proactive in life. Most of humanity is reactive. We can't control our minds and emotions. Look at the current situation today. People are divided. The nation is divided. People are flaming each other on Facebook. As I said, our class only studied an individual Sephirah for a month. In the old days, they studied one a year. Times have changed. Personally, I think the learning aspect has quit. Knowledge and wisdoms come from the heart. When the mind and heart are in coherence, the ability to gain wisdom occurs. I hope this book will help guide you on your journey in life. We all have our particular point of view on life. This is my personal journey. It has made me a better person. To be honest, I don't study this anymore, yet the foundation lies inside of me. Day by day, moment by moment, my goal is to be a better person. I take responsibility for my life. I'm learning to respect all different faiths and traditions. We're all on the same boat of life, sailing together. Bon voyage.
Peace lies inside of you.
Intro. This book is all about receiving knowledge from Prem Rawat and the incredible effects it had on my life. Words can't describe how grateful I am. Before meeting him, I was yearning to learn how to meditate. I somehow knew there was a jewel inside of me waiting to be discovered. This book will describe my precious journey and the incredible friends I've met on the way. Many of these I haven't spoken to in years, yet there is a thread of love tying us all together. In some of my stories, I had to talk about my experience in the past. Today, the meditating techniques are the same, but the expressions have changed. I apologize if I offend anyone. Even before receiving knowledge, I knew there was 5 internal senses. The day I received knowledge changed my life forever. In one instant, my life went from the external to the internal. Yes, I had and still have issues to clear. Curveballs will be thrown your way. Yet my foundation through practicing this day in and day out has transformed me. My brother and I love to meditate. We seem to have a knack for it from day one. Changes can occur in your life. I love to enjoy each moment on this journey. Baby steps are needed. One can never see how far one has traveled on this journey. Many people say they can't see the results, yet if they look back to see where they came from and where they are now, it's the difference between night and day. Prem has dedicated his entire life to spreading this knowledge. It's been 50 years since he first came to the West. I can't imagine how many programs he has attended. Most of the time, he is on the road. If you ever have the chance to see him or hear him, I would highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed. As Prem once said, try it and you will like it. People try it and like it.
This is the true home that exists inside of you, beyond time and space.
Intro. Come with me and let's explore the Aboriginal world of Dreamtime. I've been fascinated by the Aboriginals ever since I saw Peter's Weir movie, The Last Way. For the first time in my life, I heard the didgeridoo. When I first heard that sound, my soul was captivated. Words can't describe the feelings I experienced inside. It was a sound so eerie and yet so comforting. I knew this sound was a part of me. I got much of my material from the above YouTube video, Journey into the Dreamtime, with Auntie Manya Andrews. I was blown away, both by the incredible sophistication of their ancient wisdom. Come with me and let's learn on this journey together. Last week, I just finished my book, Conscious Economics. It was about how the world must change our ways to survive as a species. I talked about the concepts of the indigenous people around the world and modern-day Western concepts of commercialism. There was a difference between night and day. From my inner well floated up a thought to write a book on Aboriginal Dreamtime. To be quite honest, I had a superficial bunch of ideas. I was always just skimming the surface. I heard about Aboriginal people going on walkabout. The great movie Crocodile Dundee talked about Aboriginals going on a walkabout. Once again, it was just at a surface level. The Aborigines have a concept called profane knowledge. Profane knowledge is knowledge acquired in the external world. This includes the good, bad, and ugly. All external knowledge lies in this category. The five senses are fully engaged. The analogy for this is bark on the tree. The bark is external. Sacred knowledge exists inside of the tree. This is where true wisdom resides. The world at large is mainly focused on the external. Take a look at modern day politics in the United States. What is the truth is considered fiction. What is fiction is considered truth. The Aboriginals knew that the wood, the essence, exists inside of the tree. They have known this for over 100,000 years. They are the oldest existing society in the world. Their entire life is based upon acquiring inside wisdom. The entire universe is alive. The earth is alive. Recently, I read an incredible article that describes the nature of consciousness. It was talking about a term called panentheism. During the 1920s, Bertrand Russell came up with this term. It's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg? What comes first, a human body and mind, or is there an awareness beyond that? Is the universe aware and conscious? Is there a cosmic quantum soup of consciousness? Does a rock or a flower aware? Does consciousness require a form? How big or how small can the form be to be aware? Is dark matter aware? Is the sun in the sky aware? What denotes awareness? Some people think, which I also do, that the foundation of the universe is consciousness. The entire universe is aware. Before the Big Bang, consciousness existed. This is not the first time a universe was created, nor will it be the last time. Like the incoming of breath and the outflow of breath, the universe comes and goes. Granted, it takes billions of years, but still, that is a blink of an eye for eternity. In this article, they describe that even particles are alive and aware. These are part of a cosmic soup where everything is tied together. The entire universe is comprised of this soup. Imagine making a homemade soup. You blend it all together and combine milk or cream. Your family loves it. Now, can you take out a single ingredient? You can't. In the same way, there is a universal soup of consciousness which we are a part of. It is quantum. It is beyond time and space. We always think linearly. In the quantum world, the past, present, and future are blended together. There is a whole set of chaotic laws that we can't even conceive. Man thinks by using logic they can understand the quantum soup, but it's beyond logic and rational thinking. Personally, I think the great mystics got a piece of the puzzle. Not the entire puzzle, but a piece of the puzzle contains the whole puzzle. It's like a hologram. A small piece contains the entire piece of the puzzle. What if a person who meditates can be in a place where they are receptive to the inner light inside? Imagine this light is the same light as the quantum universe. Everything is part of this light. E equals mc squared. Everything is energy and light. Everything is alive and aware. The Aboriginals have discovered this fact over 100,000 years ago. This concept is still alive at their core belief systems. Many modern-day scientists believe in this theory. The Aboriginal people have discovered the tree inside many moons ago. It is not a concept, but a reality.
Divine intoxication fills the air. Only a wise man understands the meaning behind these words.
Intro. Welcome to my new book. This book will be a story within a story within a story. But first, take a look at the slideshow. This might give you an insight into the work I'm doing. I believe we are all on the same boat sailing home together. I take a look at beauty in all walks of life. Even the so-called weeds like the dandelions have incredible health benefits. I've been thinking for the last 2 years that I wanted to tackle the Muslim's point of view on life. My daughter is a devout Muslim. Her husband is from Egypt. They have 3 incredible children. I have seen the transformation of my daughter from a child to a beautiful adult and mom. It brings tears to my eyes. This journey in life is a combination of having your feet on the ground and your head in heaven. It's extremely practical. This is just the beginning of the story. This is the first step. Come with us on this journey. Each day, a new story will come alive. If you are in any way interested in Rumi, watch the story unfold. I can't say everything will be 100% accurate. Well, that wouldn't be a story, would it? The essence is how the story brings inspiration to you. This is what a story is truly about. The definition of inspiration is as follows: the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. A sudden, brilliant, creative, or timely idea. This book came from my inner inspiration a week ago. I always wanted to hear more about the life of Rumi. Well, here goes. Author Rumi. If you've seen Star Trek, you will see how Spock can do a mind meld with another person. People think that it's science fiction, yet it is not. Your body is hardwired for this experience. The author quite frequently says that when you are born, you have the operating system, hardware, and software put into place. How elegantly said. Your scientists discovered the quantum field over a century ago. Imagine a field that is beyond time and space. It exists for eternity. Universes are created and destroyed. Behind the scenes, seen and unseen, lies the source of life. Just think your body is wired for this experience. You have unlimited potential. The universe is keeping you alive. The author uses that a lot. Anyway, anybody can tap into that. It's a great way to have a phone conversation with your loved ones on the other side. Sometimes the author has an uncanny ability to tap into a person who has died and received a message from them. Note, this is not like receiving words, but symbols and feelings. These come from the subconscious mind. Many people, when they hear about channeling, they say, it's just the subconscious mind. Well, exactly. That is precisely what it is. The subconscious mind is directly connected to the quantum soup or source of life. The subconscious mind governs over 95% of your actions. The intelligence and wisdom of the entire universe lie inside of your subconscious mind. Humankind's subconscious is united. Take a look at Carl Jung and his work. This will give you a better understanding. This is how the author communicates with me. It used to be common upon mankind. The indigenous people all around the world still have this capability today. The author just finished a book called Dreamtime, which talks about the aboriginal ways of melding heaven and earth in your everyday life. This will not be perfect. Both the author and I laugh at this. People will scoff at such ideas. People laughed at me when I was alive. You could say my life was outside of the box, but my poetry is still alive today. People are inspired to read and listening to it. In fact, it is more popular today than when I was alive. There are rumors that I'm the #1 poet in the world. If Allah says so, I'm just a humble servant. I don't need recognition. When one is united with Allah, it's all His glory. Anyway, come on this incredible storytelling journey. You will laugh and cry at the same time. This is just as much as your story. We are all united. Stop and think about your particular journey on this road of life. The author uses the word ponder quite frequently in his works. It was only in the last 10 years he used this. Pondering is a way to discover your essence. All great civilizations use this. So welcome. This is the first step. Let the storytelling begin.
For eternity, the expression know thyself has been said. A mature civilization understands the meaning behind these words. Our present-day civilization has no idea what these words mean.
Intro. I remember when I was in India that I said to myself, why anyone would not want this experience of knowing thyself? Years later, I see that the spiritual path is the most practical. Many people would say the opposite. In fact, probably most of the world. What I'm saying was never taught in our school systems or by our families. We're human beings, but at times I would rename that to human doers. We are good at that. In fact, we are so good that we have to slow down and do nothing. We get bored. Take for instance the global shutdown. Most people got bored out of their minds. They couldn't handle the mind being bored. This is a major problem. I mean, a huge problem. We are like leaves blowing in the wind. Whatever comes our way, react to it. Our subconscious runs 95% of the show, while our conscious mind is about 5%. Unfortunately, we aren't even aware of this. You own the universe. You just don't know. You are stardust. Many scientists have confirmed this. Scientists know the existence of a quantum field that exists beyond time and space. You are a part of this field, yet we are texting on the freeway of life. Going back to the spiritual path is the most practical. How would you like to live in the present moment? How about never getting bored again? Yes, that takes time, but with practice and awareness, it can happen. How would you like to live in the center of the hurricane? Humanity is living in the hurricane force winds of the mind, and it's getting battered by the wind. Did you know that infinite peace, happiness, kindness, love, and compassion lies inside of you? Humanity is chasing the carrot on the stick. We are always striving for a happiness. External happiness is short-lived. Ask any drug addict. It brings a temporary high, yet they need a higher dose the next time around. Did you know that you are a master chemist? Each one of us is geniuses. Unfortunately, every single time you get angry or have negative emotions, your body is literally flooded with over 1,500 negative emotions. The Buddhists say that when you get angry, you are drinking your own poison. You think the other person will get harmed, that you are the one. We live in such a state of mind where the human body, for billions of people, they can't shut down the faucet of adrenaline. At night time, billions of people can't shut down the mind and body. $1 billion industry is built around it. A wise man puts his head on the pillow, smiles, and drifts off to sleep. An ignorant man will argue until all hell breaks loose. The wise man will have nothing to say but smile. He has nothing to prove. The sun in the sky just smiles. The universe just smiles. It has nothing to prove. Just think the entire universe exists inside of you, yet it doesn't shout. Hey, look at me, dummy. At times I wish it would, yet the universe is big and humble. At the same time, it is infinite power. It is quite a paradox. When I came back from India, I had this friend. Call him Jim. Jim had a brilliant mind. It was off the charts. He got a degree in math and physics. Note, I said math, not mathematics. I need a spell checker for that. Anyway, we once discussed seeing light inside. My all-time favorite poem is Brahmanand's Palace in the Sky. We have 5 external senses and 5 internal senses. We're literally hardwired to know thyself. My dear friend Jim thought we were crazy. Looking back, maybe we were. My brother John and I were learning how to have our feet on the ground and head in heaven. That is the definition of the word idiot. We are living our lives in darkness, yet we think we see clearly.
You are the universe. You just don't know it.
Intro. Who am I? Man has been asking this question for thousands of years. Yet are we getting closer to answering this question? All the wise ones of the past said the answer lies inside. I say this a lot. You or the universe. You just don't know it. Most people roll their eyes when I say this. Michio Kaku said the following: in string theory, all particles are vibrations on a tiny rubber band. Physics is the harmonies on the string. Chemistry is the melodies we play on vibrating strings. The universe is a symphony of strings, and the mind of God is cosmic music resonating in 11-dimensional hyperspace. I love this example from Paramahansa Yogananda. Another time, I was sitting in a movie theater watching a movie on a screen. And then I looked into the projection booth. I saw that the projectionist was not interested in the movie because he had seen it over and over again. Instead, he was reading a book. The projector was doing its job. There was the sound, and the beam of light was casting realistic images on the screen, and there was the audience caught up in the drama. Note the wise men of old and the quantum scientists are both talking about the same thing, but there is a huge difference. The quantum scientist looks external, while the wise man looks within. The sages throughout time would talk about our true nature, yet the majority of people roll their eyes when hearing about this. This book goes through all sorts of angles for you to ask yourself these basic questions on life. If you can try to have your heart open, we are thinking outside of your box. There's a part of you the heart knows when love wants to open the door inside of you.
Both the mystic and the quantum scientist are talking about the same thing.
Intro. I truly believe in synchronicity. The title of this book is The Physics of Spirituality. Mind you, I did not come up with this title. My twin brother's John's business partner and dear friend Parminder Singh Kalasa came up with this title. They have known each other for over 33 years. I've been fascinated by physics and the foundation of consciousness in the universe. For almost 50 years, I've been meditating. You could say my brother and I have a knack for it. If you've been reading my books, which you probably have, I've been writing about the practical experience behind all religions. They are all talking about the same thing. In the past few months, I wanted to talk about the Sikhs. They have an incredible background which the West has ignored. Parminder's passion is studying the quantum field, using the external lab and internal lab. We will get to that in this book.
Come and learn about the tricks of the trade to discover the jewel that exists inside of you.
Intro. Welcome to the Tricks of the Trade. This is not your ordinary book. You've been living, yet for most people, they have no idea of the power of the breath. We come into this world, we take our first breath, and presto, we are alive. We live our lives. In each and every moment, we are breathing. When we take our last breath, we die. It is as simple as that. Nobody gets a free ride. The mystics have said for thousands of years, the power behind your breath is the same power that is keeping the universe alive. Yet for most of us, we are oblivious of it. We live our lives searching for the truth, yet the truth has always been inside of you. Unfortunately, man is stubborn and hates to change. And most of what the wise men have said, most people just roll their eyes. They believe if it exists inside of me, why, we don't know about it. Well, your focus is on the external. You were never taught to look inside of you. It's only by your will and intent. Nobody can open the door for you. Take your time reading or listening to this book. Ponder over each chapter. I hope that you will discover the jewel within. You are a missing piece of the puzzle.
Intro. The kingdom of heaven lies inside of you. You maybe have been taught that the pearly gates exist in the clouds somewhere, and God is ruling from his throne. Luke 17:20-21. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of God should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of God cometh not with observation. Neither shall they say, lo here, or lo there. For behold, the kingdom of God is within you. Let's take a look at Christ's last years and the significance of them. Just think, many of the world's religions consider Christ as one of the greatest mystics. Mystic. Now, a person who seeks by contemplation and self-surrender to attain unity with or absorption into the deity or the absolute, or who believes in the spiritual apprehension of truths that are beyond the intellect. Have the teachings of Christianity been watering down? Considering the following, Matthew 6:22. In the King James Version of the Bible, the text reads, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thy eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. The World English Bible translates the passage as, the lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is sound, your whole body will be full of light. Talk to any mystic, and they will say, this is divine light, the self-effulgent light. This is our true nature. All mystics know about the third eye, which is the pineal gland. Joe Dispenza received his doctorate of chiropractic degree from Life University in Atlanta, Georgia, graduating magna cum laude. His postgraduate education has been in neurology, neuroscience, brain function and chemistry, cellular biology, memory formation, and aging and longevity. Joe was both a scientist and a mystic. My suggestion is to think outside of the box. Many people think Christopher Columbus was crazy
when he said the world is rough. People got quite angry when he said it. Let's go on an incredible journey. You are the universe. You just don't know it.